On the day of my coming-of-age ceremony, I was defiled by a poor scholar. My mother flew into a rage and hastily married me off. Only my eldest sister added to my dowry. Everyone praised my eldest sister for her kind and compassionate heart. They said that although she was the fake heiress, she was the precious legitimate daughter the Prime Minister's mansion had raised for years. That year, my sister married up into a prince's mansion, while I, the true heiress, was humiliatingly married into the scholar's thatched hut. 3 years later, I was tormented by the scholar until I became gravely ill. I escaped back to the capital to beg my eldest sister for help. At that time, my sister was dressed in lavish clothes, her face radiant. She was nestled in the arms of my brother-in-law, who had already become the crown prince. He saw that I was on the verge of death, and said mockingly, "Little sister, you still don't know? On the day of your ceremony, you drank the wine I gave you, which is why you were lured away by that scholar. You are the true heiress. The wonderful marriage to the crown prince was supposed to be yours after your ceremony. How could that opportunity ever have fallen to me? I died tragically, filled with hatred. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of my coming-of-age ceremony. My sister was smilingly offering me a toast. In my past life, she smashed the cup right after I drank from it, leaving no evidence behind. So, the first thing I did after being reborn was to switch her cup when no one was looking, and then guide her to offer the second cup to Prince Chen, Xiao Chunze. Xiao Chunze is the future crown prince and the man my sister loves. He is also my future brother-in-law. Right in front of my sister, I drank the wine she handed me, but the cup that was truly drugged actually went into Prince Chen's mouth. A quarter of an hour later, in a side room in the rear courtyard, His Highness Prince Chen, who had come to the garden alone to sober up, stumbled and fell into my arms. Just as I expected, his breathing was ragged and his body was burning hot. His symptoms were exactly the same as when I was drugged in my past life. I willingly threw myself into his embrace. Prince Chen was like a warm stove hugging a block of ice, he wouldn't let go. But I remained perfectly conscious, guiding him to the side room next to the garden, to avoid the other man who might come looking. In this life, I will not only take back everything that belongs to me, but I will also steal the man my sister loves most. My sister would never imagine that the wine she handed me would become an aphrodisiac for me and my future brother-in-law. Xiao Chunze gradually woke up, his gaze clearing. When he saw that the person beside him was me, he instantly grabbed my throat. "You dare to plot against me?" I struggled weakly a couple of times, revealing the bruises and red marks he had left on my shoulder. No matter how you looked at it, it seemed I was the one who had been taken advantage of. Feeling guilty, Xiao Chunze let go. I coughed violently a few times and immediately retorted, "I was resting in the side room. It was you, Your Highness, who drunkenly burst into the inner room." My shoulders trembled as I began to cry pitifully. My crying made Xiao Chunze feel like he was in the wrong. He held his forehead, confused. "How is that possible? I can hold my liquor extremely well." "But Your Highness was clearly so drunk your face was flushed, and you had lost all reason." No matter how I cried and begged for mercy, it was useless. Xiao Chunze quickly sensed that something was wrong. Could it be the wine was drugged? I pretended as if he had just reminded me. And putting on a convincing act, I began to reason. "Today, at my ceremony, I also drank only 1 cup of wine. That cup was handed to me by my sister personally. And I remember the last cup Your Highness drank was also handed to you by my sister. Could it be it was her? If my sister really did plan this, then neither of us can stay here any longer." "Absolutely not. Ruahua has a gentle and kind heart. She would never do something so despicable." Just as he finished speaking, the sound of people searching came from outside. First, it was my mother's anxious voice. "Her Majesty the Empress is about to arrive. Mingyue is the guest of honor at today's hairpin ceremony. She absolutely cannot be disrespectful. Go and find her at once." Then, Su Ruo's voice was heard. "Mother, just a moment ago, a maid saw Sister Mingyue enter the inner courtyard garden with a strange man. They vanished without a trace. Could they be having a secret rendezvous in a pavilion or a private room?" In my past life, my hairpin ceremony did indeed alarm Her Majesty the Empress. The Empress and my mother were once as close as sisters. She came to my hairpin ceremony to actually size me up for Prince Chen. The reason she came today was to see what the true daughter of the Prime Minister's residence looked like, and what her character was like, and whether I was worthy of the position of Princess Chen. Su Ruahua knew of the Empress's intentions. So, she laid a trap, wanting the Empress to personally witness me, the true daughter, disheveled in a pavilion, lying beneath another man. In my past life, when the Empress saw this scene, she was instantly furious. To prevent me from implicating the entire Prime Minister's residence's reputation, my mother hastily married me off. This time, when she couldn't find me in the pavilion, she immediately led everyone to the nearest private room. Soon, they found that the door to my room was left ajar. "Sister Mingyue, are you in there?" Xiao Chunze looked mortified. His entire body was covered in my marks. The bite mark on his neck was a vivid red. The base of his ears was still flushed from the heat of the moment. "Your Highness, don't worry. I'll deal with them. Your Highness should leave through the small window. Rest assured, I will not breathe a single word about what happened today." Xiao Chunze was slightly startled. Then what about you? I looked at him with an innocent face. If we just say we were drunk and things got out of hand, I'm sure my sister won't make things difficult for me. I picked up the robe Xiao Chunze had dropped on the floor. Blinking my clear eyes, I said innocently and sincerely, Your Highness, I never thought of using this matter to threaten you in any way. Xiao Chunze looked at me in a completely new light. Sister, if you don't answer soon, I'm going to push the door open. Right under Xiao Chunze's gaze, I frantically put on my outer robe. Sister, I was a little drunk. I was just resting here for a moment. Sister, why is your voice so hoarse? Can getting drunk also damage your throat? I let out 2 fake coughs. Perhaps I caught a cold after getting drunk. In that case, I must come in and see for myself. As she spoke, Su Ruahua pushed the door open from the outside. With her were my mother and several well-known ladies from high-ranking official families. I clutched my chest in a panic, which only made it the first thing they all noticed. The marks on my body, combined with the hot, humid air still lingering in the room. Everyone's expression turned peculiar. Mingyue, what were you doing in here? Mother, I wasn't doing anything, I said, uttering the most unconvincing denial. I took 2 steps back to shield the screen behind me. Su Ruahua's gaze, full of aggression, darted between the screen and me. Sister, don't tell me you were with some wild man, carrying on an indecent affair in this room? Sister, how can you slander my reputation without any proof? I looked as if I was about to cry, my voice trailing off softly. Su Ruahua thought I was crying out of guilt. In reality, I was putting on a show for Xiao Chunze. Sister, you insist that I'm guilty. And you've brought so many noble ladies with you. Was this premeditated? Whether you're innocent or not, we'll know just by looking behind that screen. Get out of my way. She came forward and pushed me aside. I fell down weakly, taking the screen down with me. On the messy, gauze-curtained bed, there was indeed a man with his back to everyone. He was sitting upright on the bed. My sister gloated, but I breathed a huge sigh of relief. He really couldn't bear to leave me alone. To face this mess. So Su Mingyue really was with a man. To do something like this at her own coming-of-age ceremony. It's a disgrace to the Prime Minister's household. Mingyue, you truly are a hopeless case. Who is this man? No, mother, it's not. I knelt on the ground, explaining frantically, as Su Ruahua had already walked to the bedside. I'll see for myself who it is. Turn around. She was practically ordering the man on the bed. I crawled on my knees to Su Ruahua's feet. Sister, this is all my fault. At worst, I'll just end my own life. Don't make things difficult for him. Get out of my way. Su Ruahua kicked me aside. She thought that the man before her was the scholar she had arranged, Feng Yuan. How dare a scholar disobey her command? A wave of inexplicable anger rose in her, and she slammed a palm on the man's shoulder. I told you to turn around. The man finally turned. His sharp eyes were filled with a grim majesty and rage. He stared coldly at Su Ruahua. It is I, the prince. Are you satisfied now? Su Ruahua's eyes widened in terror. Why your highness? With a series of thuds, everyone in the room fell to their knees. How could it be you, your highness? Su Ruahua felt as if her world was collapsing. Shaking and stammering in fear, she suddenly looked at me, realizing she had been tricked. Furious and flustered, she started cursing and lunged towards me. But she was yanked back by a pair of large hands. Xiao Chunze pulled me protectively behind him. He sized up Su Ruahua with a complex expression. In his memory, Su Ruahua had always been gentle, considerate, virtuous, and polite. But just now, she had been so harsh and unrelenting, cursing with such a vicious look on her face. She was no different from a shrew. Compared to the Su Ruahua he admired, she seemed like a completely different person. Or perhaps, this was Su Ruahua's true nature. Xiao Chunze's gaze was chillingly cold. Under his stare, Su Ruahua suddenly realized she had lost her composure and quickly knelt, putting on her most practiced innocent act. Your Highness, I was just worried you were being framed. That's why I got flustered and lost my composure. Su Ruahua said confidently, I have studied alongside your Highness for many years. I know you better than anyone. Your Highness has always been disciplined and righteous. You can drink 1,000 cups without falling. How could you possibly get so drunk as to lose your composure today? Someone must have put something in your wine with ill intentions. Sister, you're making insinuations. Are you trying to accuse me of drugging His Highness, Prince Chen? You're still pretending? And Su Ruahua saw me cowering behind Xiao Chunze, she grew even more furious. If it wasn't you, then who was it? The only person who benefits from this is you, Su Mingyue. It's simple to prove. We just need to call a physician to take his pulse and see if His Highness has been poisoned. Xiao Chunze agreed, and for the sake of fairness, he sent his confidant directly to the front hall to summon the imperial physician, Wang, who was at the banquet. Just like that, the incident alerted all the guests. Imperial physician Wang took Xiao Chunze's pulse. The diagnosis was swift. The prince's yin and yang are imbalanced, with a raging fire within. It's a classic sign of an aphrodisiac poison. If this poison isn't neutralized in time, at best, it will damage his core essence. At worst, his life force will reverse, and he will die. Who could be so venomous as to dare do this to a prince? As the imperial physician described the drug's effects, Su Ruahua's expression didn't even flicker. From the moment she decided to give it to me, she had only two outcomes in mind. Either I would be found completely disheveled, or I'd be caught in bed with a man, my reputation in tatters. But all of her little schemes have now been redirected by me onto the man she loves most. The great general, who had always been on good terms with the Prince Chen's estate, said, "Does your Prime Minister's household have a death wish? How dare you use such tactics on His Highness Prince Chen? Your Highness, please calm down." Duo Niang knelt on the floor. Regardless of who administered the drug, Prince Chen was endangered in our residence. Duo Niang, there's no need for you to apologize. His Highness Prince Chen is a kind and virtuous man. He would never implicate the innocent. Su Ruihua spoke on the prince's behalf, taking on the air of the lady of the house. The most important thing now was to find the one who administered the poison. She stared daggers at me. "Mingyue, do you dare let the imperial physician check your pulse as well?" I clutched my wrist, and asked warily, "Sister, what do you mean by that? If you were also drugged, then it might be understandable. But if your pulse is normal, meaning you weren't poisoned, that means you were clear-headed the entire time. A lucid young lady from a noble family, upon encountering a delirious prince, should have called for an imperial physician to seek a remedy for him. Not lead him astray. The only reason you would do this, little sister, is to climb your way into Prince Chen's household. And become his princess consort, isn't it?" Su Ruihua reached out and adjusted my collar, exposing my plot with contempt. "Don't pretend you were forced. This was your intention all along. You wanted to use your hairpin ceremony to force His Highness Prince Chen to marry you, isn't that right?" Since the drugged wine ended up harming Xiao Chengze, Su Ruihua was certain that I hadn't drunk it. The look she gave me was already brimming with unconcealed killing intent. Even though her scheme had failed, she was still determined to frame me for this scandal. I clutched my wrist and took 2 steps back, vehemently denying it. "I didn't drug the prince. I'm a victim, too. If you didn't, then why are you shrinking away?" A mocking voice called out. It was my own full-blooded brother, Su Yanbo. He walked over to Su Ruihua's side and addressed Prince Chen. "Your Highness, this drug is incredibly potent. If they were both drugged, then Su Mingyue could be considered innocent. But if Su Mingyue was lucid the whole time, while only you, Your Highness, were overcome with passion, it's hard not to be suspicious that she was the one who drugged a prince." I stared at Su Yanbo. I was his real sister, the one who shared his features. But right now, just to side with Su Ruihua, his every word was meant to corner me. From within the crowd of onlookers, voices started to rise in support of Su Ruihua, seeing that she was gaining the upper hand. Su Ruihua said to me in a soft voice, "As a fellow woman, I understand what you were thinking. You were raised outside of the family, after all, and your foster mother was a. It's no surprise you'd pick up some unsavory tactics." "No, absolutely not. Then why do you look so guilty? Just let the imperial physician check your pulse. Then everything will be clear." I looked up at Xiao Chengze, pleading, "Your Highness, you have to believe me. I was framed. I'm innocent." Xiao Chengze grabbed my arm. "Mingyue, let the royal physician check your pulse. If you are innocent, this will convince everyone." The arm he was holding began to tremble uncontrollably. A triumphant glint flashed in Su Ruihua's eyes as she snatched my arm. Royal Physician Wang smoothly took over, placing his fingers on my pulse. Royal Physician Wang stroked his white beard, frowned, and said, "This pulse." Su Ruihua impatiently asked, "How is the pulse? She wasn't drugged, was she? She's lying, isn't she?" The royal physician released my hand and delivered his conclusion. "This pulse is the same as His Highness, Prince Chen's. It is agitated and rapid, a sign of weakness due to qi and blood deficiency after an injury." Su Ruihua was shocked. "What did you say?" The chattering children of the noble families, along with Su Yanbo, who was so eager to convict me, all stood frozen in place. The royal physician delivered the final word. The two of them were likely poisoned with a potent substance at the same time. But Miss Mingyu's symptoms are even more severe than the prince's. When it takes effect, she would surely lose her senses, with no control over her thoughts or actions. If she committed some grave error during that time, she is truly innocent. Su Ruihua flew into a rage. "How is that possible? This is impossible. The physician must have made a mistake. I have served in the Imperial Medical Academy for over 40 years. This is the first time someone has questioned my medical skills." Su Ruihua was deeply humiliated. She immediately turned the accusation on me. "If you're not up to something, why are you acting so guilty? When the physician wanted to take your pulse, why did you pull away?" "The reason I pulled away," I said as I rolled up my sleeve. My arm was covered in bruises and red marks from the night before. I was afraid that when the physician checked my pulse, he would expose these marks and damage the prince's honor. And it would be unbecoming of a noble lady's decorum. I swept my gaze over Su Ruihua and her 3 friends. My eyes were full of defiance. "Don't you all agree?" These marks included bite marks and bruises, all masterpieces from Xiao Chengze's loss of control. Xiao Chengze looked deeply ashamed. He reached out and pulled me protectively into his arms. He pulled down my sleeve and then undid his own outer robe, covering me up completely. The group that had been the loudest before was now also flustered. So she really was innocent? Then who could have administered the poison? Could there be an assassin at the banquet? I think I just saw Ruahua toast both the prince and that true daughter. Su Ruahua was already in a panic. Just then, Su Yanbo stepped forward and said, even if Su Mingyue was also drugged. It's possible she did it for the glory of Prince Chen's house, taking a dangerous risk as part of a scheme. I looked at Su Yanbo with cold eyes. Truly my dear brother, he had guessed my plan completely. I did indeed take the drug. But only after I had lured Xiao Chunze to bed. The poison Su Ruahua gave me was the most potent kind. Uncontrollable, the poison I gave myself was a defective version. Not only could I control it, but its effects on my pulse were also easily confused, making even the royal physician think Xiao Chunze and I were poisoned at the same time. And that my case was even more severe. Thus, I became the perfect victim. Now, faced with Su Yanbo's accusation, I asked with tears in my eyes. Brother, are you saying that in order to cling to the prince's house, I would abandon my own purity and disregard my own life? And administer a heavy dose of poison to myself? Would anyone in this world truly be so greedy and foolish? Or is it that in your eyes, I am just that kind of despicable person? Su Yanbo was rendered speechless by my questions. Father, mother, and I asked you all in return, in your eyes. Am I truly such a despicable villain? Father, mother? I am your own daughter, the one who shares your blood. When Su Ruahua was slandering me, wasn't she also slandering everyone in the Su family? The Prime Minister, a man of great learning, lowered his eyes in shame at my question. The way the graceful and noble matriarch looked at me was also instantly filled with guilt. No one else in the room dared to speak. It was finally quiet. Just then, I walked over to Xiao Chunze. Your Highness, do you remember what I said? You and I both drank the wine served by Su Ruahua. There was nothing wrong with the wine I served. Poisons aren't always put in the wine. They can also be on the utensils. Your Highness, have someone bring the wine pot and cups she used for the toast. We'll know the truth as soon as we check. Su Ruahua was clearly flustered. She looked at Xiao Chunze pleadingly. Your Highness, do you suspect me? We've known each other for so many years. Don't you know what kind of person I am? Su Ruahua, what kind of person are you? Su Ruahua's expression froze and her shoulders slumped. If Su Yanbo hadn't been there to support her, she would have collapsed to the ground. Even if the tampering with the cups was discovered, she wasn't the only one who had handled the wine set during the ceremony. They wouldn't necessarily be able to pin all the blame on her. She took a deep breath and calmed herself. My conscience is clear. I have nothing to fear from your Highness's investigation. No sooner had she spoken than a man dressed as a scholar stepped out from the crowd. I have something to report. I have something to report. The crowd parted to let him through. The scholar was dressed in simple robes, and he was holding another man who was dressed similarly. The man was shoved to the ground in front of everyone, yelling that he'd been framed. Qin Zhongwen, you're framing me. My pupils constricted. This man, kneeling before me and crying that he'd been wronged, was Feng Yuan, the scholar I married in my past life. I had anticipated his arrival, but seeing him in person, I couldn't help but feel a sickening chill run through me. Xiao Chunze noticed my breathing suddenly quicken. Thinking I was frightened, he pulled me into his arms in a protective embrace. Your Highness, Your Excellency, I wish to report Feng Yuan for his wicked intentions. The scholar holding Feng Yuan down was Qin Zhongwen. Pinning Feng Yuan down, Qin Zhongwen exposed him to Prince Chen. Early this morning, Feng Yuan was sneaking toward the garden in the inner courtyard. The inner courtyard is where the young ladies and masters live. I was worried he might cause trouble for the nobles, so I followed him. Sure enough, I saw him sneaking around and hiding behind the rockery. Later, after Lady Mingyue stumbled into the inner courtyard, Feng Yuan came straight out from behind the rockery and began searching around, even wandering by the side chambers. He was pushing open doors one by one, as if he were looking for someone. A chill ran down my spine. If Xiao Chunze hadn't been there, if I had really been drugged. Even if I'd hidden in one of the chambers, Feng Yuan would have found me and had his way with me. The coming-of-age ceremony for the Prime Minister's daughter is being held in the main hall. His Excellency has shown this humble commoner great kindness. I absolutely could not let Feng Yuan ruin the ceremony, so I intervened and apprehended him. When he resisted, I found this drugged handkerchief on his person. Qin Zhongwen handed over a thick handkerchief. Royal Physician Wang took it and examined it closely. He held it to his nose, sniffed lightly, and then immediately pulled it away. This handkerchief has also been drugged. This scholar intended to harm Lady Mingyue. The crowd gasped in shock. I pretended to be frightened and shrank into Xiao Chunze's embrace. Enraged, Xiao Chunze kicked Feng Yuan to the ground. How dare you? Who put you up to this despicable act in the Prime Minister's residence? Seeing he was exposed, Feng Yuan immediately looked toward Su Ruahua. Su Ruahua's expression faltered. What are you looking at me for? Feng Yuan's eyes darted around. In my past life, I was married to him for 3 years. I knew he was both stupid and vicious. Now that things have come to this, he would definitely rat out Su Ruahua as the mastermind to save his own skin. Su Ruahua's face went deathly pale. She desperately tried to threaten him with her eyes. But a scoundrel like Feng Yuan is the hardest to control in a life or death situation. Just as I thought, he ignored Su Ruohua's warnings and chose to save himself. The only person who would dare order me to do something like this is, of course, Su. Her Majesty, the Empress, has arrived. Before he could finish his sentence, he was suddenly cut off by a loud shout from a eunuch outside. My clenched fist fell open, powerless. It was so close. Su Ruohua's heart was in her throat. Then it suddenly dropped back into place. The Empress had always been very fond of Su Ruohua. Before Su Ruohua was exposed as a fake heiress, she was still the carefully groomed young lady of the Prime Minister's mansion. Noble daughter of pure lineage. Although she's a fake heiress now, Su Mingyue, on the other hand, is under suspicion regarding the prince. Having seen too much palace infighting, the Empress is paranoid and overthinks everything. Moreover, she treasures Prince Chen as the apple of her eye. She would never allow anyone to plot against Prince Chen in the bedroom. Su Ruohua revealed a smug look of someone who had just survived a catastrophe. Her Majesty, the Empress, was her greatest supporter. I knelt respectfully, wearing Xiao Chun's outer robe. Almost immediately, I felt the Empress's gaze land on me. Everything on the bed that hadn't been tidied up yet was a clear sign of the recent scandalous affair. The Empress's expression turned cold. What happened here? Before Xiao Chunze could answer, Su Ruohua rushed to speak. Your Majesty, Su Mingyue used low-class tricks from the brothels to frame His Highness, Prince Chen. Xiao Chunze wanted to explain on my behalf, but Empress Wen had no more patience to listen. To engage in an illicit affair without a matchmaker or betrothal gifts is utterly unchaste. I grant you this white silk sash to end your own life. I will grant you a dignified death. Xiao Chunze was shocked. Mother, Mingyue is a victim too. How do you know she's completely innocent? Can you truly see through a woman's heart? I remained calm on the outside, but a thin layer of sweat broke out on my back. My little tricks were truly child's play in front of the Empress. The Empress was the person of the highest status present. No one dared to defy her decision. Duo Niang looked like she wanted to plead for me, but in the end, she didn't dare to speak up. Just like in my past life, when they married me off without a second thought for the sake of their reputation. As two of them came to restrain me, my eyes met Su Ruohua's. She was like a triumphant fox, slyly waiting for me to die. The palace servants were incredibly strong. They immediately moved to rip the outer robe off my shoulders. But just as a corner of the robe was pulled away, another pair of large hands pulled it shut again. If we are speaking of losing chastity, then today, I, your son, have also lost my integrity as a gentleman. Since you insist on a death sentence, mother, you might as well provide one more white silk sash. And hang your son as well. My son, you. Everyone present was stunned by Prince Chen's words and actions. To issue a death sentence without asking about the full story. Mother, how is what you are doing any different from wantonly killing the innocent? Xiao Chunze then scanned everyone present. And you all, the Empress is here to uphold justice. Have every single one of you gone mute? As soon as he finished speaking, the guard who had gone out to investigate just now came in to report. Xiao Chunze invited the Empress to take the main seat. There's a reason for what happened, and it was a setup. Since you are here, mother, you might as well listen to the evidence, model. Before passing judgment. The guard, holding the wine set, returned to report. Your Majesty, Your Highness. There are indeed traces of poison on the wine set Su Ruohua used for the toast today. The imperial physician has confirmed that this poison is a potent folk remedy known as mating ducks. This concoction is typically used on livestock. It is the reason why Your Highness and Miss Su behaved so improperly today. It is the true culprit. Everyone's eyes turned to Su Ruohua. Su Ruohua immediately cried out, someone must have framed me. These wine vessels have been handled by so many people, Your Highness. Your Majesty, I have been framed. Xiao Chunze had managed to suppress the Empress's earlier rage, and now her composure had returned. Upon hearing the imperial physician say that it had nearly cost Xiao Chunze his life, she became serious. Ruohua, are you the thief crying, thief? Your Majesty, I didn't. Su Ruohua knelt on the ground, completely frantic. Utter nonsense. Everyone looked at her as if she were a jester in a play. At this, her three friends from prominent families fell silent. I was certain that Su Ruohua's fate was sealed. But then, Xiao Chunze let out a low sigh. The matter is crystal clear. It was the scholar Feng Yuan. He lusted after the Prime Minister's daughter, snuck into the inner courtyard, and poisoned the wine. I suddenly looked up from his embrace. Xiao Chunze gave an order that allowed no argument. Drag Feng Yuan away to be castrated, and then take him to be executed by strangulation. As soon as Feng Yuan heard this, he started cursing. I was just following orders. The mastermind is Su. Before he could finish his sentence, guard smashed his tongue and teeth with a club, making him unable to utter another clear word. I quickly spoke up, it's not that simple. Xiao Chun's hand on my shoulder suddenly tightened. It was a grip meant to stop and warn me. I froze, seeing him gaze at the disheveled and frantic Su Ruohua on the ground. From this day forward, Su Ruohua is confined to reflect on her misdeeds. Without my order, she is not to take a single step out of her pavilion. I understood. Xiao Chunze had pushed all the blame onto Feng Yuan, just to protect Su Ruohua. For this, He did not hesitate to destroy all the evidence I had so carefully presented. Immediately after, he suddenly pulled me down to my knees before the Empress. Mother Empress, Su Mingyue, by a strange twist of fate, cured your son of the poison. Since she is innocent, your son is willing to take responsibility for her. Father Emperor had already intended for the House of Chen and the Prime Minister's manor to be joined by marriage. Su Mingyue is the Prime Minister's true-born daughter, so the marriage contract shall be fulfilled by her. Chunzhe, what do you mean? Xiao Chunzhe squeezed my hand tightly and announced loudly in front of everyone. I will follow all the proper rites and ceremonies to marry the Prime Minister's daughter, Su Mingyue, as my princess. By doing this, Xiao Chunzhe could both preserve my reputation and extinguish the Empress's murderous intent towards me. The Prince of Chen needed the support of the Prime Minister's court officials. The Empress knew that Su Ruihua was not innocent in this matter. Displeased, she finally relented and agreed, telling Xiao Chunzhe to request the imperial marriage decree from the Emperor himself. And with that, this farce finally came to an end. After the Empress departed for the palace, I came across Su Ruihua and Xiao Chunzhe talking in a pavilion. Su Ruihua's face was stained with tears. She questioned Xiao Chunzhe, we are clearly in love, so why must you make Su Mingyue your princess? And why slander me for using dirty tricks? Xiao Chunzhe let out a cold laugh. He held a poisoned white porcelain cup out to her. There is poison on both the rim and at the bottom of the cup. The fine wine was turned into a potent drug. You arranged for Feng Yuan to enter the inner courtyard, with the intent to ruin Su Mingyu's reputation and claim the title of Princess Chen for yourself. His every word was a dagger, exposing how she mixed up the cups because the mark was too faint, mistakenly offering the drugged wine to him, and even her plot to use the Empress Dowager to get rid of Su Mingyue. Terrified, Su Ruihua dropped to her knees and frantically tried to defend herself, claiming she only wanted to set Su Mingyue up with Feng Yuan. She then accused Su Mingyue of swapping the cups to frame the prince, crying that she had loved him for years and would never harm anyone. Unrepentant, Xiao Chunzhe furiously smashed a porcelain cup, the sound echoing as it hit the floor. You were the only one who had contact with Feng Yuan that day. The silver notes in his room were scented with your Qilin perfume. If I hadn't suppressed the evidence and had Feng Yuan's tongue cut out, you would have been beheaded long ago. The crime of poisoning a prince is punishable by the execution of your entire clan. I am protecting you today only to repay your years of devotion. From this day forward, all ties between us are severed. Never speak of being my princess again, and you are forbidden from touching even a hair on Su Mingyu's head. If you dare to harm her, you make an enemy of me. Su Ruihua was sobbing uncontrollably. She felt as if her heart was being torn to shreds. Xiao Chunzhe looked at her. The aphrodisiac wine meant for Mingyue and me, you served it with your own hands. You have brought today's consequences upon yourself. Stepping over the broken porcelain, Xiao Chunzhe turned and left with a flick of his sleeve. No matter how hysterically Su Ruihua cried, he never once looked back. I used a large tree to hide myself, making sure Xiao Chunzhe didn't spot me. At dusk, Feng Yuan was to be executed in the backyard of the Prime Minister's residence. As the matter was a disgrace, the Prime Minister sought Xiao Chunzhe's permission to silence him directly in the residence's backyard. I watched coldly as Feng Yuan was strangled to death. If it weren't for Xiao Chunzhe's compassion, the one being sent to the gallows today should have been Su Ruihua. For poisoning a prince, even 10 lives would not be enough to atone for her crime. But the prince himself showed mercy. That whole scene in the pavilion. Prince Chen appeared to break ties with Su Ruihua, but his eyes clearly held a mix of love and hate. I must find a way to make Prince Chen and the entire Su family completely despise Su Ruihua. I have to drive this cuckoo from the nest and send her back to where she belongs. 3 days later, an imperial edict for our marriage was issued from the palace. Prince Chen's estate quickly sent the betrothal gifts to the Prime Minister's residence. I met with Xiao Chunzhe on the day the gifts were delivered. He told me to simply wait peacefully for the wedding. Among the gifts was an exquisite, imperially bestowed golden hairpin. Your Highness, could you help me put it on? Just as Xiao Chunzhe picked up the hairpin, a maid burst in, frantic. This is terrible. Miss Ruihua has hanged herself in the attic. Xiao Chunzhe's expression changed instantly. He bolted toward Su Ruihua's Lanyue pavilion. My father, mother, and brother all rushed over as well. I picked up the golden hairpin from the tray. This was supposed to be my happy day. Yet everyone ran off to worry about Su Ruihua. When I arrived at Lanyue pavilion, Su Ruihua was lying in Xiao Chunzhe's arms. Sobbing, she pounded on his chest. I don't want to live anymore. I'm too ashamed to live. I must atone with my death. The white silk sash lay beside her. There wasn't a single mark on her neck. She couldn't even make her fake suicide attempt look convincing. Yet such a clumsy performance earned everyone's sympathy. Why must you do this to yourself? Ruihua, you still have your parents. We all think of you as our own daughter. You made a mistake, and we are all willing to help you change. That's right, even if the sky falls. Your big brother will be here to hold it up for you. So this is what it's like to have people who will always save you. In my past life, when my reputation was in ruins, these same blood relatives couldn't wait to throw me out. They had never said such comforting words to me. Su Ruihua looked at Xiao Chunze with teary eyes. Xiao Chunze said helplessly. There's no need for this. Without you, your highness, my life would be worse than death. As she spoke, Su Ruihua became a little breathless. She leaned weakly into Xiao Chunze's arms. Xiao Chunze didn't push her away, only sent someone to summon the imperial physician. The way Xiao Chunze looked at me was always as if he were giving alms to a pitiful, weak person. But when he looked at Su Ruihua, it was with a fondness he couldn't bear to part with. The imperial physician came and said Su Ruihua was suffering from a troubled heart, so Xiao Chunze relented. He allowed her to no longer be confined to the pavilion and to walk around the Prime Minister's manor. My wedding to Xiao Chunze was set for the 9th of next month. The entire Prime Minister's manor was busy with preparations. Everywhere was decorated with fresh flowers and festive silks. Seeing all this made Su Ruihua even more melancholic. 3 days before the wedding, I was in the courtyard looking at the different kinds of wedding candies. Su Yanbo suddenly stormed towards me. Why did you have someone send wedding candies to Lanyue Pavilion? Are you trying to make Ruihua upset on purpose? I explained innocently. Brother, I just wanted her to taste the wedding candies too. The imperial physician said her heart is troubled, so I thought she could share in my good fortune. Maybe it would help her spirits recover faster. How dare you be so sarcastic? Brother, you've misunderstood your sister. I turned and picked up a plate of wedding candies from the table. Brother, please try them for your sister and see which flavor is better, so we can serve them to our distinguished guests on the wedding day. Su Yanbo raised his hand and knocked the lacquered tray from my hands. The various wedding candies on it scattered across the ground. Who cares about sharing your bad luck? He threw these words at me, flicked his sleeves, and left. Qingdai came forward to help me pick up the candies. I told her not to bother with that. Go and tell Duo Nian that my brother and I had a fight today. Although Qingdai didn't understand my intentions, she did as she was told. By noon, the entire Prime Minister's manor knew that Su Yanbo, for Su Rule was Sake, had a fight with me. In the evening, Su Ruihua came to see me, dressed in simple and elegant clothes. She put on the air of a frail beauty, speaking in a gentle and kind voice. Big brother got into an argument with you today because of me. I've already spoken to him about it. You two truly have a deep brother-sister bond. And I've been in this family for 18 years. Even if we're not siblings by blood, our bond is stronger than that. Su Ruihua smiled and took my hand. It was all my fault before. I wanted too much. After being so ill, I've come to see things more clearly. Brother is waiting for you at Yuyan Pavilion. He wants to apologize to you in person. For the sake of your sibling bond, you shouldn't refuse him. I know you have some misunderstandings about me, but if you don't go, I'm afraid you'll get a reputation for disrespecting your elder brother. You know how much the royal family values reputation. I can no longer marry into the family, but Mingyue, you mustn't bring shame upon the Prime Minister's manor. I stared at her doubtfully. This is the Prime Minister's manor. It's your home. Are you afraid I'm going to eat you? Fine, I'll go with you to see brother. I followed Su Ruihua to the Yuyan Pavilion in the inner courtyard. The pavilion was hidden within a bamboo grove in the garden. The door to the pavilion was ajar. Su Ruihua led me by the hand up the steps. As soon as I reached the entrance, I smelled a familiar, strange fragrance. Mingyue, go on in and see brother, Su Ruihua urged me through the door. She quietly retreated behind me, just as she was about to push me from behind. I suddenly turned around with a sinister smile. Su Ruihua, I've seen this trick before back when I was in the brothel. What kind of lamb to the slaughter trick was this? Before Su Ruihua could even react, I chopped her on the neck, knocking Su Ruihua unconscious with a single blow. I supported her body and pushed her into the Imperial Banquet Pavilion. Su Ruihua came to as she fell to the ground, her body completely weak. She looked up to see a flushed Su Yanbo, staring at her like a tiger eyeing its prey. Like a beast closing in on its prey. Paired mandarin ducks. There was a faint, unusual fragrance, one that an ordinary person wouldn't easily notice. But I'm different. In both my past life and this one, I've had dealings with this drug. So when that faint, unusual scent wafted out of the Imperial Banquet Pavilion, I immediately guessed Su Rule was intention in luring me here. There's no room for both me and Su Ruihua. And there's no room for me in her world, either. With the grand wedding fast approaching, she wanted to use Su Yanbo to ruin me morally beyond redemption. So she can't blame me for returning the favor, an eye for an eye. Sister, Su Yanbo's feelings for you are more than just brotherly. Do enjoy yourself, I said, closing the door from the outside. Su Ruihua struggled desperately, trying to escape the Imperial Banquet Pavilion. But the crazed Su Yanbo grabbed her limbs. After all, Su Yanbo has martial arts training. His strength was enough to overpower Su Ruihua. I called for Qingdai, who was waiting outside the bamboo forest. Go to Prince Chen's manor and tell them that Su Ruihua has gone missing. I'm afraid she might be trying to kill herself again. Ask His Highness Prince Chen to come take a look. I understand, milady. I will also inform the Prime Minister and the matriarch on my way. Good, go now. I stood guard outside the door for about an hour, until I heard people rushing this way. Only then did I hide myself in the bamboo forest. Duo Niang and Xiao Chunze arrived at almost the same time. came out of the bamboo forest as well, pretending I had just found this place. Your Highness, have you found my sister? The words had barely left my mouth when a strange female voice suddenly came from inside the Imperial Banquet Pavilion. The expressions of the matriarch and the Prime Minister changed instantly. They rushed forward and threw open the door, only to see on the bed their son and Su Ruahua were tangled together, completely lost to the world. The Prime Minister let out an anguished, furious cry. The matriarch rushed forward to pull Su Yanbo off. But Su Yanbo was completely enthralled. Su Ruahua, how dare you seduce my son into doing such a thing? Is this how you repay our kindness for raising you? Su Ruahua frantically got up, wanting to explain. But suddenly her face went deathly pale, because she saw Xiao Chengze standing in the doorway. His eyes as cold as ice as he stared at the scene. Your Highness. No, Your Highness, please let me explain. She forcefully pushed Su Yanbo away and struggled to get out of bed, but her legs went weak and she almost fell. Xiao Chengze's expression was livid, and the pressure emanating from him was suffocating. He turned coldly to walk out of the room, but then suddenly stopped in his tracks. Followed him out. Your Highness, I'm sure my sister didn't mean for this to happen. Perhaps she was drunk and made a mistake. Suddenly, Xiao Chengze clutched his chest and violently coughed up a mouthful of blood. It was a sign that his rage was overwhelming him. Now, he must have completely given up on Su Ruahua for good. By the time I had escorted Xiao Chengze back to his manor and returned to the Prime Minister's residence, it was deep into the night. Upon entering the main hall, I saw Su Ruahua and Su Yanbo kneeling before the heads of the household under the dim yellow light. It looked like they had already gone through a round of interrogation. The drug's effect on Su Yanbo had worn off, and he seemed much more lucid. He was repeatedly apologizing. Father, Mother, your son was wronged. This wasn't my fault. The Prime Minister and his wife's faces were ashen. The residence's physician stood off to the side. This being the second time such a scandal has occurred, the household already had experience dealing with it. I've already had his pulse checked. Su Yanbo was drugged, but Su Ruahua wasn't. It's clear at a glance who seduced whom into doing wrong. The moment I appeared, Su Ruahua lunged at me. It was you, Su Mingyue. You're so venomous, so vicious. How could you, she said, bursting into aggrieved tears. She's completely forgotten that if I hadn't fought back, I would be the one taking the blame for this serious crime today. I don't know what you're talking about, sister. Brother was drugged, and you are the only one who has that drug. You're also the only one with a past record of this. Are you playing the thief crying, stop thief? I flicked Su Ruah's hand away. If I'm not mistaken, sister, you saw you could no longer marry His Highness Prince Chen, and you were afraid of being cast out by the Prime Minister's mansion. So you threw away your dignity to fight for the position of daughter-in-law of this mansion. Am I wrong? You. Su Ruahua was so furious at my words that smoke was practically coming from her ears. Su Yanbo scrambled up from the floor. He shoved me hard. Ever since you came back, our family has been in total chaos. It's clearly you who framed us. Father, Mother, you saw that, didn't you? Look how worried brother is about sister Ruahua. Besides, the two of them aren't related by blood. Why not just grant them their wish and let sister Ruahua become my sister-in-law? The Prime Minister's expression grew even darker and more terrifying. Su Yanbo was, after all, the only male heir of the Prime Minister's mansion. The legitimate son, no less. As for his marriage, the Prime Minister had long favored the daughter of Marquis Dingan. At the very least, it had to be the legitimate daughter from a duke's mansion. Only a marriage between equals could forge a powerful alliance and solidify the Su family's position in the imperial court. But now, all of that was being ruined by an adopted daughter. He was absolutely heartbroken and furious. Prompted by me, Su Ruahua also realized that marrying Su Yanbo was now her only viable option. She had originally hoped to take my place, or at the very least, become a favored concubine in the prince's mansion. But after Prince Chen witnessed that scene today, he must surely despise her. After the scandal at her coming-of-age ceremony, her reputation was already in tatters. No young master from any respectable, noble family would be willing to marry her. Father, Mother, since things have come to this, I am willing to marry Brother Yanbo, she pleaded, crying coquettishly. She completely failed to notice that the Prime Minister and his wife were already on the brink of exploding with rage. Hearing Su Ruahua say this, Su Yanbo was both shocked and overjoyed, and he quickly chimed in. Father, Mother, why don't you let me marry Ruahua? She's our adopted daughter, after all. We've raised her since she was a child, so you know everything about her. You can rest assured with a daughter-in-law like that. Insolence. Both of you are insolent. The Prime Minister was enraged, and the matron, unable to tolerate it anymore, shot up from her seat. She landed a resounding slap across Su Ruah's face. Su Ruahua was stunned. From the time you were little, I never had the heart to strike you. Even on the day I learned you were not my own flesh and blood, I couldn't bring myself to blame you. Su Ruahua, you were born the daughter of a prostitute. You enjoyed 18 years of pampered luxury in this mansion. The master and I painstakingly raised you to be a proper lady of a great house. We planned your future for you, treating you as even more important than our own biological daughter. And how have you repaid us? At your coming-of-age ceremony, you schemed against the crown prince. You gambled with the lives of our entire clan. And now, you scheme against your adoptive brother. Do you want to ruin my son's future? To destroy the 100 years of legacy my Su family has built? You treacherous, ungrateful viper. I should have never been so soft-hearted back then. I should have thrown you out of the house. I watched this scene of mother and daughter falling out with cold detachment. I only found it ironic. When they first brought me back, they couldn't bear to send Su Ruahua away. At the coming-of-age ceremony, they couldn't bear to hold Su Ruahua accountable for her big mistakes, but now she has harmed their precious, legitimate son. Shaking the very foundation of the Su family, father and mother are finally panicking. So you see, a punishment has to hit where it truly hurts. Otherwise, none of them will ever feel your pain. As soon as he heard mother wanted to kick Su Ruahua out, Su Yanbo immediately defended her. If you're going to kick Ruahua out, then you might as well kick me out with her. The Prime Minister was so furious his chest heaved. He lifted his foot and kicked Su Yanbo hard, then let out a cry, spat up a mouthful of blood, and collapsed backward. Another one had collapsed from anger. The Su residence was thrown into total chaos. In the cold night wind of the early morning, Su Yanbo and Su Ruahua were kneeling in the courtyard as punishment. Inside, by the dim light of a single lamp, I carried the warm medicine to the Prime Minister's bed. Father, drink your medicine. The imperial physician said this was brought on by a fit of extreme anger. It's the same thing His Highness Prince Chen had. You'll feel better after drinking this. The face of the always strong Prime Minister showed exhaustion and age. I carefully fed him the medicine, wiping away what trickled from the corner of his mouth. The matriarch took this all in. Suddenly, the Prime Minister gripped my hand, his eyes welling up. You heir, father was wrong. I shouldn't have favored an outsider and neglected my own wonderful daughter. The matriarch also came forward, wiping her tears. It's all our fault. We were completely blind to have sided with such an ungrateful wretch. So, they knew all along how they had been biased against me, how they had neglected and treated me so harshly. They weren't truly repentant. They were just afraid that Su Yanbo was about to be completely ruined. And with Su Ruahua proving to be so worthless, all of the family's hopes could only rest on me, their biological daughter and the future princess consort. Father, mother, you mustn't say such things. You're overwhelming me. I understand your difficulties and hardships. I would never dare to complain. I had also learned to say these proper, understanding words, which made the couple feel even more ashamed. Even His Highness Prince Chen witnessed this. How are we ever going to clean up this mess? Regardless, Su Ruahua absolutely cannot be allowed to remain in this residence any longer. Perhaps you'll listen to your daughter's suggestion. Brother has fallen for Su Ruahua. Because they grew up together in such close proximity. We just need to separate the two of them. You heir, tell us more. My humble suggestion is this. Ask His Highness Prince Chen to have brother transferred to the border for 2 years to be tempered. He can reflect on his mistakes while earning merit. If he's just coddled in this golden cage within the imperial city, it will do no good for his future. That makes sense. And what about Ruahua? The Prime Minister seemed reluctant to even use the Su surname for her anymore. How should that adopted girl be dealt with? Sister Ruahua has lived in the imperial city for many years and is somewhat well known. If our residence simply expels her, I'm afraid it will invite public gossip and criticism. It would be better to arrange a marriage and have her marry someone far away. That way, our family will have shown the utmost benevolence. You heir, you truly are my daughter. This strategic thinking, it reminds me of myself when I was young. How could the daughter I gave you be anything less? In that instant, they began acting as if we were incredibly close. But where will we find a match on such short notice? What about the scholar who exposed Feng Yuan the other day, Qin Zhongwen? Although his family is poor, he seems to be an honest and upright man. The matriarch instinctively worried that Su Ruahua would live a hard life married to him, but she quickly hardened her heart. Forget it. She came from a lowly background to begin with. Marrying Qin Zhongwen is already a step up for her. Why should I worry about her future? With the matter settled, I helped my parents get to bed. Early the next morning, Qin Zhongwen, having received the good news about the marriage arrangement, came specifically to thank me. My lady, you are indeed true to your word. On the day I returned to this life, time was short. I only had enough time to bribe Qin Zhongwen, who happened to be wandering in the inner courtyard, model. That day, I sent you to ambush Feng Yuan at the rock garden. You did a very good job with that. I promised you that I would arrange a good marriage for you afterward as a reward. I will betroth Su Ruahua to you. Are you satisfied? Qin Zhongwen bowed. More than satisfied. Although she's a fake young lady, she was still meticulously raised by the Prime Minister's manner. I suppose I'm marrying up. Qin Zhongwen had failed to pass the imperial examinations for many years. He only got into the Prime Minister's manner to study by flattering and sucking up. He's a bit smarter than Feng Yuan. But in terms of family background, talent, and character, he's just another Feng Yuan. In my past life, Su Ruahua deliberately chose a social climber from a poor background to defile me. Now, I'm giving her a taste of her own medicine. After arranging everything at home, I took the snacks I made and went to Prince Chen's manor. Xiao Chunze was truly heartbroken. He was resting on the bed with his eyes closed. When he saw me arrive, he propped himself up and quietly watched as I ladled the white fungus soup into a bowl. I fed him a spoonful. He asked me in return, "Did you not add any sugar?" I quickly tasted a spoonful. "My apologies, Your Highness, I forgot to add sugar again." He teased, "Don't all you young ladies like to eat sweet things? How could you forget the sugar? When I was little, I lived with my adoptive mother. She wouldn't let me touch the sugar at home, saying it was very expensive and that I wasn't worthy of eating it." I pretended to bring up this past memory casually, unintentionally revealing my wrists. As expected, Xiao Chunze saw the old scar on my arm. He grabbed my wrist and asked insistently. "Back then, I was so distracted, I didn't even notice you had such an old scar on you. Who did this?" "My lord, please don't ask. I'm afraid the story would dirty your ears." "Speak." That day, my sister, in front of everyone, said I was raised by a courtesan. She wasn't slandering me. My adoptive mother, who is also Su Ruo's birth mother, was indeed a dancer from a brothel. Back then, she was pregnant with a client's child. Unable to find the child's father, she used her connections as the top courtesan, and found out that the prime minister's wife would be going up the mountain that day. So she hired a group of men to pose as bandits. They forced the expectant prime minister's wife into a dilapidated temple. In that temple, they both gave birth. My adoptive mother swapped the babies. She found a good home for her child. As for me, I could only follow her around to survive. I stroked the scar. When I was 8 years old, she was, by a client. I rushed in to protect her and was cut on the arm by the shattered fragments of a vase. The cut was very deep. Afterwards, my adoptive mother berated me, saying my arm had become ugly and that I wouldn't be able to perform beautiful dances in the future. Later, she found me too timid and cowardly, so she made me dance on the streets for money. I happened to see the young lady of the Prime Minister's manor out for an excursion. Her carriage was so magnificent. It even had feather wind chimes hanging from it. I secretly peeked at the Prime Minister's daughter inside the carriage. She wore flowers made of colored glaze in her hair and was dressed in a pink skirt woven with gold thread. In her hands, she was playing with a fluffy rabbit. I was captivated, but my adoptive mother covered my eyes. She warned me harshly, saying that was a noble young lady. Not someone a person like me could even look at. She forbade me from even feeling envious, because I would never be worthy of living that kind of life. But a few days later, she pointed at the towering Prime Minister's manor and said that if I danced well, I could go inside to perform for that same young lady and earn some reward money. Later, I realized she just missed her biological daughter. She wanted to force me to master my dancing so she could bring me into the Prime Minister's mansion to see her biological daughter. And the condition for entering the mansion was that she wanted me to slash my own face. I paused here and asked with a smile, "Your Highness, have you never seen me dance?" I got up from the bed, gracefully stretching my arms. Revealing arms covered in old scars, I began to spin and dance. But before I could manage more than a few steps, Xiao Chunze embraced me from behind. "I'm sorry, Mingyue," he apologized in a muffled voice, resting his head on my shoulder. "That day, I shouldn't have let those people use your painful past to insult you. Su Ruohua stole your life. I shouldn't let her hurt you anymore. I'm fine, you see? The hard times are over now. Actually, my feelings for you are no less than Su Ruohua's. Your Highness, do you know how I was recognized and brought back to the Prime Minister's mansion? It was you who purged the corrupt official Shen family from the court. And the brothel where my adoptive mother was a front for the Shen family's illicit activities. That day, when the officials came to investigate the brothel, the one leading them was my mother's brother, the Minister of Justice. My uncle noticed how much I looked like my mother when she was young. He grew suspicious and investigated further. And that's how I was brought back to the Prime Minister's mansion. In my heart, I am so grateful to you, Prince Chen." This was the first Xiao Chunze had heard of this. He stared at me, surprised and delighted. "So we were destined to be together all along. I almost missed you." He cupped my cheeks and gave me a gentle kiss. This kiss was filled with pity and guilt. When a man starts to feel sorry for you and guilty about you, it won't be long before he falls in love with you. I didn't tell Xiao Chunze that at the time, the brothel was in chaos. My adoptive mother, afraid I'd be seen by the officials, tried to stop me. Back then, all I wanted was to escape her control. As she held me tightly in her arms, I, on some strange impulse, pulled out the hairpin from her hair and jabbed it into the back of her head. Then, I fled in a panic. I ran right into the arms of the investigating official. That official was utterly shocked when he saw my face. Later, I learned that the Minister of Justice was my biological mother's brother. At 17, I looked just like my biological mother in her youth. Like I was cast from the same mold. The Minister of Justice was extremely efficient in his work. Soon, I was confirmed to be the true daughter of the Prime Minister's mansion. And the true daughter possesses many things. For example, the marriage contract with Prince Chen's manor, which was mine from birth. I was only scheming to get back what was rightfully mine. I hugged Xiao Chunze tightly. I was embracing the man I had long admired, but more than that, I was embracing my bright future. After that day, Xiao Chunze never again asked about Su Ruohua. 2 days before the grand wedding, Su Yanbo was suddenly dispatched to the eastern border by Prince Chen's manor. He was ordered to set off immediately. A military order cannot be defied. Before dawn, with Duo Niang seeing him off, Su Yanbo reluctantly left to join the army. The day before the grand wedding, Su Ruahua learned that a marriage had been arranged for her. The maid deliberately told her only half the story, so Su Ruahua mistakenly believed she was going to marry Su Yanbo. When I walked into the pavilion, she was excitedly trying on the wedding dress and headdress that had been delivered. This wedding attire and jewelry are so plain. Su Yanbo is the Prime Minister's only son. I'm going to be the mistress of the Su family. Even if time is short, how dare you treat me so disrespectfully? She was scolding the maids who delivered the items, but when she turned around, she saw me. Su Mingyue, you still dare to come here? Why wouldn't I dare? I'm not the one with a guilty conscience. You're the one who did that to Su Yanbo, aren't you? Su Rua's eye twitched, her gaze turning venomous. I exposed her conspiracy from that day. You deliberately had him provoke me, then used an apology as an excuse to lure me over. Su Yanbo would be drugged and lose all reason. And he's incredibly strong. The moment I stepped into that room, you would have someone lock the door from the outside. Then, when the time was right, you'd go get Duo Niang and Prince Chen. That way, I would be framed for indecency with my own brother. Not only would Duo Niang despise me, but my marriage into Prince Chen's estate would also be completely ruined. What a poisonous heart you have, sister. I looked her up and down with a sneer. Do you know why it was so easy for me to see through your plot? Because tricks like these, ever since I was a child, I've seen them used countless times in the brothel. You grew up in the Prime Minister's estate, yet you're a natural when it comes to such vile schemes. You really are a prostitute's daughter. With the same despicable blood running through your veins. How dare you insult me? Enraged, Su Ruahua raised her hand to slap me. I caught her wrist and slapped her across the face instead. Su Ruahua, you'd better remember this. Everything I'm doing to you is just giving you a taste of your own medicine. The slap knocked her head to the side. Her eyes turned red with humiliation. So what if you're smug now? In the future, in this household, you will have to call me sister-in-law and respect me as your elder. I stared at her as if she were a complete fool, then covered my mouth and burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Su Ruahua grew flustered and uneasy at the sound of my laughter. I gave her a meaningful pat on the shoulder and said nothing at all. The wedding day the state preceptor chose for Prince Chen was an impeccably auspicious one. Su Rua's wedding was also scheduled for this lucky day. When it was time for her to depart, neither the Prime Minister nor the madam made an appearance. Only 2 maids were there to hastily do her makeup, right up until it was time to get into the bridal sedan. Su Ruahua finally couldn't resist looking around. Where is Su Yanbo? Today is our wedding day. Why hasn't he appeared? My lady, could you be looking for me? Qin Zhongwen, why is it you? You must be joking, my lady. Who else could it be? Qin Zhongwen took Su Rua's hand with a wide grin. You smell so wonderful, my lady. Insolent. Today is my wedding day. Aren't you afraid Su Yanbo will have you thrown out of the estate? Oh, you mean the young master? He's already gone to join the army. He set out the day before yesterday. He's already at the border by now. Su Ruahua couldn't believe it. You're lying. If he's not here, who am I supposed to marry? My lady, you don't know yet? The man you are marrying today is me. The Lord Prime Minister promised you to me long ago. Tonight is our wedding night. Impossible. My parents would never abandon me like this. And Su Yanbo wouldn't dare wrong me like this. My lady, your reputation is already in tatters. No one in the Prime Minister's estate is willing to protect you anymore. Your only refuge now is to become my, Qin Zhongwen's, wife. No, I want to see the Prime Minister. I want to see the madam. Su Ruahua tried to run to the front hall, but the wedding escort blocked her way. The wedding for Prince Chen and his bride is in the front hall. An outsider like you has no business ruining the occasion for the estate. Outsider? I am the true-born daughter of the Prime Minister's estate. There is only one true young lady in the Prime Minister's estate. And that is Su Mingyue. You are nothing but a wicked impostor who was switched at birth. The Prime Minister can no longer tolerate your presence. You're no different from an outsider now. If you know what's good for you, get in the sedan and leave. Otherwise, don't blame us for using force and causing you to lose all face. It slowly dawned on Su Ruahua that she had been utterly abandoned by the Prime Minister and his wife. Someone, get her into the sedan chair. Don't let us miss the auspicious hour. The servants half-tied, half-dragged Su Ruahua into the sedan, while the festive music from the front hall drifted over. She screamed hysterically, "This is impossible. I am the daughter of the Prime Minister. I am Prince Chen's beloved. How dare you treat me this way? Father, mother, your daughter has been terribly wronged." Gag her mouth. Qin Zhongwen personally grabbed a handkerchief. He gagged Su Ruah's mouth. Stop dreaming about being the Prime Minister's daughter or Prince Chen's princess. That all belongs to someone else now. You, on the other hand, are a perfect match for me. In the end, Su Ruahua was tied up and stuffed into a cramped bridal sedan. The wedding procession, with only a dozen people, played their instruments without any enthusiasm. As they passed the gate of the Prime Minister's mansion, Su Ruahua frantically tried to stick her head out. She saw the mansion's main gate, adorned with festive lanterns and silks, and crowded with guests. Amidst the cheers of the crowd, Prince Chen was carefully lifting the Prime Minister's daughter, who was adorned in gold and jade. He wouldn't let his princess walk a single step, carrying her directly onto the magnificent six-bearer wedding carriage. A 10-mile red dowry procession, a city filled with fragrance, it was an extraordinary celebration. Su Ruahua wept with jealousy. This was the wedding she had dreamed of, but now she could only sit in a cramped, humble sedan. To be married off to a poor scholar with no prospects. She would never accept this fate. She threw herself forward and tumbled out of the sedan, hoping to get Prince Chen's attention, but she landed on her forehead. Her head was split open and bleeding, but Prince Chen never once glanced in her direction. In my first year in Prince Chen's mansion, I successfully gave birth to the young heir. At the heir's one-month celebration banquet, 3 of Su Ruah's old friends all came bearing lavish gifts to congratulate me. The county mistress who used to mock me complimented me on my youthful appearance. The young duke who had once humiliated me begged me to say a few good words for him to Prince Chen. And the young marquis who set me up at the Jade Pavilion to humiliate me privately offered me tea in apology. I sat with them in the main hall, taking the seat of honor while the 3 of them sat in secondary seats, all wearing forced smiles. Not daring to let the atmosphere grow awkward, I casually asked a question. Have any of you heard from Su Ruahua recently? The county mistress played dumb. Su Ruahua? I've already forgotten someone like that even exists. If you ask me, a fake is a fake. It can never be the real thing. The world only remembers the true pearl. Who would bother to remember a piece of imitation jade? She instigated us to do so many foolish things back then. Your Highness, you mustn't take it to heart. I took a sip of tea and said languidly, and here I was thinking that you, her dearest friends from the past, would still be thinking of her. Who said we were dear friends with her? Your Highness, please don't joke like that. I sat there in the main seat, watching these 3 as they laughed along nervously and guiltily for more than an hour. It was much more entertaining than watching a play. The following year, Xiao Chunzhe was appointed as the crown prince, and I became the mistress of the Eastern Palace. This perfectly matched the course of my previous life. After becoming the crown princess, my parents treated me with even more affection. Every time the Prime Minister attended the morning court session, he would make a point of asking the crown prince about me. The matriarch often sent me restorative soups and tonics, telling me to take good care of my body post-childbirth, so I could be blessed with many more children. Su Yanbo returned with honors from the border. After being tempered for 2 years on the harsh frontier, my own brother seemed to have matured and grown much more stable. He had even earned considerable merit in the army. He was named a 3rd-rank general of the Agile Cavalry. After achieving this fame, Su Yanbo came to the Eastern Palace to see me. He apologized for how he had harmed me 2 years prior. I replied generously, "We are family by blood. I won't dwell on the past. You too must look forward, brother, and strive for even greater military glory." Su Yanbo, filled with shame, then proactively told me. On my triumphant journey home, I passed through Qing County and saw Su Ruahua. She begged me to take her back to the capital, but I refused. My brother, feeling sorry for her, asked why I didn't bring her back. "You must be joking, Your Highness. Although I couldn't bear to part with Su Ruahua, she is no longer part of the Su family. Besides, she's already another man's wife. Moreover, that ridiculous thing I did back then was because she drugged me. I've long since sobered up. So, brother, why are you telling me this? Your Highness, my dear sister, could you find me a suitable lady of equal standing to marry? Once a person gets a taste of power, they are no longer entangled in matters of love." Su Yanbo had a promising future, so naturally, he considered using marriage to climb even higher. Unfortunately, he was reckless in his youth, and his reputation among the capital's socialites wasn't good. The Prime Minister's household spent over a year scheming before they finally found a match for Su Yanbo, the legitimate daughter of a 3rd-rank civil minister. When he married her, the Prime Minister's household was, of course, full of sincerity, humbling themselves. In the winter of the 3rd year, there was a woman at the gates of the Eastern Palace. She was causing a scene, demanding to see the crown prince. At the time, Xiao Chunzhe was having the Supreme Court investigate old, wrongful cases. Thinking she was an aggrieved citizen seeking help at his residence, he took me outside to meet her. But we saw that the woman was hunched over, her exposed skin covered in red patches. There was also a scar on her forehead. At first, Xiao Chunzhe didn't even recognize her. "Your Highness, it's me. I'm Ruahua." Xiao Chunzhe looked utterly disgusted. Realizing she wasn't a petitioner seeking help, he took my hand. Linner was just crying for his daddy to hold him. "I should go comfort our child. I'll handle this." After 3 years of marriage, Xiao Chunzhe knew my temperament well. He didn't ask any more questions. He just pulled my white fur cloak tighter around me. "Don't catch a cold, and don't waste too much thought on people like her." "I understand." Xiao Chunzhe and I shared a tender moment for a while. Then he ignored Su Ruahua and walked straight back into the residence. "Your Highness, it's me, Ruahua. It's me, Ruahua. Stop shouting, Su Ruahua. I'd recognize you even if you were burned to ashes." The hatred and resentment in Su-Rue's glare was heavier than the winter snow. But then her demeanor softened. Sister, I beg you, spare me a little something. I really can't go on like this anymore. Then she started complaining to me about how Qin Zhongwen drank and squandered money, how he bled her dry. I had no other choice. I stopped my brother's entourage. He acted as if he didn't even see me. So I went to the Prime Minister's residence to beg. They shut the door in my face. My only choice was to come to the Eastern Palace and beg you, sister. Sister, everything in the past was my fault. Please, save your big sister. Just spare me anything you can. As long as it's enough for me to get by in the Imperial City. I walked up to her and casually pulled a golden hairpin from my hair. Is this hairpin enough? Su-Ruehua nodded eagerly, reaching out to take the golden hairpin. However, the moment she touched it, she suddenly flipped it around, aiming the sharp end right at my heart. But before the hairpin could even harm me, Su-Ruehua was knocked to the ground by the Eastern Palace guards. Her body had been so ravaged over these past few years that after being knocked down, she struggled just to get back up. I stood up, looking down on her. Sister, these past few years haven't been kind to you, have they? This is all wrong. This isn't how it was in my dream. In my dream, I was the one who became the crown princess. You were the one who became a beggar, Su Mingyue. You're the one who stole my destiny. All this wealth and glory was supposed to be mine. I was supposed to be the Prime Minister's daughter. I was supposed to be Princess Chen. And I was supposed to be the crown princess. Seeing her behave like this, I guessed she already had memories from our past life. When did you remember? 3 years ago, on my wedding day, I fell and hit my forehead. I remembered everything then. Oh, that's wonderful. I was so afraid you wouldn't remember. For these past 3 years, you must have been thinking that everything I have should have been yours. Wondering why I got to steal it all from you. You must have been in terrible pain. Too resentful to sleep at night, and during the day, just the thought of it was enough to make you cough up blood from rage. You were alive, but suffering in a living hell, weren't you? Su-Ruehua stared at me in terror. I had described nearly every stage of her inner turmoil. As for why I knew all this so clearly, it's because I experienced it all myself. I was clearly the true daughter of the noble house. That I lived a lowly life for 18 years. I wanted Su-Ruehua to understand exactly what she once possessed, only to have me snatch it all back. Only this could be considered the ultimate torment for the soul. Sister, do you have the courage to kill your husband and escape, just as I did in our past life? Seeing the panic on Su-Ruehua's face, I knew she didn't dare. Which meant Qin Zhongwen was still alive. That's fine, too. I'll have my people send you, my dear sister, right back to Qin Zhongwen's side. After all, it was my royal decree that arranged this marriage for you too. No, don't send me back to Qin Zhongwen. That would be a fate worse than death. She suddenly grabbed the golden hairpin in her hair. A lifelike, opulent peony was carved on it. She stared at the peony and began to laugh. She had always dreamed of wearing a hairpin like this, one befitting a crown princess. Her expression suddenly changed. She gripped the golden hairpin and stabbed it toward her heart. The guards didn't understand, but I saw it clearly. Su-Ruehua was remembering the spousal love she shared with Xiao Chunze in their past life. She actually believed that in this life, Xiao Chunze must still have lingering feelings for her. That he would never ignore her, whether she lived or died. The wound she gave herself wasn't deep. It only drew a little blood before she collapsed pitifully into the snow, murmuring. Your Highness, Ruehua is in so much pain. Your Highness, I dismissed the guards and ordered everyone to leave her be. When I returned to the warm chamber, Xiao Chunze was lifting our 3-year-old son, Liner, high up onto his neck, letting him ride on his shoulders. Liner was grabbing his father's ears with his little hands, giggling loudly. When they saw me, the father and son stopped their playful roughhousing with a smile. I told him, Su-Ruehua stabbed herself and has collapsed in the snow. She's calling your name, waiting for you to save her. Why are you telling me about this? Come and see. Today, I taught Liner how to write a character by guiding his hand. What character? There, in the center of the calligraphy paper on the desk, was a wobbly, childish character for you. It's the name of Liner's mother. Mommy, Mommy, I immediately rushed to pick him up, kissing him again and again. Liner is so clever, Xiao Chunze chimed in from the side, vying for attention. What about me? Isn't Liner's daddy clever? Yes, very clever. I gave Xiao Chunze a perfunctory reward as well. In return, he hugged me and refused to let go. The sound of a happy family of 3 echoed from the study. The next morning, at dawn, a woman was found frozen to death at the gates of the Eastern Palace. Her body was unceremoniously taken away by the guards. When I was 10 years old, my foster mother once told me, if you don't learn your craft well and please the patrons, you'll end up freezing to death in the heavy snow one day. She told me not to compare myself to the young ladies of noble houses. Their futures were destined to be filled with great wealth and harmonious marriages. She was right about everything. I am the noble daughter. I am the crown princess. The great wealth is mine, and the harmonious marriage is mine, too. The one who froze to death in the heavy snow was her own daughter, while the fake heiress stole her place. In this life, the derailed paths are set right, the bright pearl shines once more, and the phoenix returns to its nest.